Hello and welcome to Powwow Nation Live. I'm Paul Gatter with PowWows.com, and this is your place to come, explore, experience, and connect with Native American culture. This is the show we do here at PowWows.com each week. Thank you so much for being here. Today, I've got an interview with two filmmakers who are producing a documentary that is going to be very interesting and thought-provoking. And maybe pull at the heartstrings a little bit. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but I do have a few announcements to get to. First of all, we do this show live every Thursday night. Unfortunately, this is not live. This is pre-recorded, but thanks for watching anyways. Stay with me. I'm on a trip and not able to go live, but I still wanted to make sure we had a show for this week. So announcements right now, if you, have been following, you know that right now is our Explore Native Challenge, where during the month of October, November, and through December 15th. This challenge will help you dig a little deeper into Native American culture through daily emails and challenges for you to do. All of that said, to compete for some prizes from our friends over at 8th Generation. They have been gracious to sponsor this year's contest again and provide some really amazing things. Like, look at these earrings. Just gorgeous. That's just one of the prizes, along with several blankets. You can enter to win over at PowWows.com/win. Enter daily for more chances. And you can collect bonus codes on our website, our live streams, and later in this show to earn even more entries. Here is one of the blankets that we're giving away. Look at this thing. It is gorgeous. So thank you, 8th Generation, for sponsoring. Be sure, head over to PowWows.com/win to get your chance at this and many other blankets and other prizes like the earrings and some other things. You can go over to PowWows.com/win and see all of the prizes we have up for grabs. Other announcements. This weekend, we are streaming the Hunting Moon Powwow live. So that will be on our Facebook, our YouTube, and over at PowWows.com. Don't miss that one. Thanks for all those who watched last weekend. Our live stream of Black Hills Powwow, that was amazing. I can't wait to put some of those videos out in smaller clips, because like their grand entry contest was so unique. And, they've done this a couple of years now. And it is amazing to see big groups of dancers, doing some choreographed moves and competing against each other. So look for that coming out, as well as some amazing specials and great singing, dancing. So those videos will be coming out soon, but you can still go back over on our YouTube and Facebook and rewatch the entire powwow if you want. All of that has been archived. And then this weekend, we'll have Hunting Moon Powwow live. You can find out more about all of our live streams, PowWows.com/live. If you enjoyed this video or any of our others, please make sure you follow us over on Facebook and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. That really does help out those networks. Tell them that you want to see our content and help spread it to many others. So that really does help support us. So please consider following and subscribing. Also want to say a special, I get lots of comments about my shirts. I love my shirts. I'm addicted to them. The brand is Roosevelt's, and today's shirt is called Love Overload. Not enough love in the world right now with how things are so divided on some issues and topics, especially in this political season. So let's just overload the world with more love. Okay, let's talk about the interview I have for today. There's two filmmakers that are producing a film called Reservation Redemption. And it's a story really telling, and you'll hear more from them, but can culture help people come back from terrible things they've done? Can it keep them from doing terrible things? And is culture a way to help people overcome some issues? And the thought-provoking part of it, and I was having a discussion with a friend of mine this weekend, is people who have served, as you'll hear, over 40 years in prison. If their record over that time is amazing and it's so beneficial to other people, what does that mean for that person going forward? Does it help with parole? Does it help with getting released? Or what does it mean, for a 16-year-old to be sent to prison without the chance of parole, but then leads a life, as you'll hear, it's just really amazing and shows resilience and how culture can affect him. What does that mean for our sentencing and what we do with people locked up? It's an interesting topic, and I hope you'll dig into it and follow along with Reservation Redemption as this film is produced. But here is my interview with the two filmmakers from Reservation Redemption. Thanks so much for spending some time with us here. Please introduce yourselves and let us know where you're from.
You can go first.
Okay. My name is Blake Pickens. I'm an enrolled member of the Chickasaw Nation of Oklahoma. Originally from Oklahoma City, but I'm in Los Angeles now.
Nice.
And I'm Brenda Fisher, and I'm a descendant of the Yakima Nation. My mom was an enrolled member, and I am in Los Angeles as well. And yeah, we're just happy to be here.
So, yeah, we just recently posted about the project on PowWows.com, but let's go back a little bit. How did you guys get involved with this topic? Even kind of coming about. What was your interest in it, and how did you get involved in this?
You want me to take that one?
Yeah, I'll let you start it. Yeah.
Okay. So I grew up on the Yakima Reservation, and I had grown up with this kid named Chief, and we started first grade together. And I watched his life kind of unfold in the neglect and the lack of family structure happening to him throughout my life. And then that culminated in him dropping out of high school freshman year. And then 2 years later, committing a murder that landed him in prison for life without parole. He was one juror away from the death penalty. And I connected with him, gosh, like 30 years later. I had been a character witness for him during his sentencing phase, and I was his only friend to do so. And then we reconnected when my son was 17, the same age Chief was when he went into prison. And at that moment, I realized where he started and where he was now, and that there was a story here that needed to be told.
Interesting. Blake, how did you get involved in this?
I mean, for me, it's been like a lifelong thing. I don't know if you know the phrase "doing life on the installment plan," but that's a lot of my family have been doing life on the installment plan, like in and out of prison. So it's just been something that's always been very, very close to my heart. In fact, while I just got back from Oklahoma. I went back for our annual festival, and while I was there, one of my uncles got out of prison and immediately hit Facebook with "Heads up, I'm back." And that was like before he told any of us. He told us on Facebook that he was out of prison.
All right. Well, so tell us about the story that you're hoping to tell here with this film and this project.
Well, so with following Chief's life and reconnecting with him, the thing that I realized, Chief is a member of the Colville Nation, and he did not know his culture before he went into prison. And then he met this amazing tribal elder named Francis Kuluya, who point blank asked him, "Who do you want to be when you grow up?" His answer was, "What do you mean? I'm in here for life." And Francis said again, "Who do you want to be?" And at that moment, he realized he had a choice and that he could take Francis's lead, learn from him. And so Chief went on to learn his culture, his language. He puts on powwows at the prison. He helped put a sweat lodge program together. And he does a ton of artwork and beading, as I'm wearing earrings that he actually made me. And so he then took it a step further and started a restorative therapy group where he brings in other Native guys, as well as some non-Native, that want to hear about the culture and the power of the culture and how it changed his life and turned him into someone who had been known as a murderer to now doing acts of service for other people just because it's the right thing to do. And he also helps people who are going to be released prepare for that. And because he doesn't want them to come back in, he's like, "Man, I don't want to see you here again." And so he works with them and tries to help them. He'll even work with reentry programs to try to get them a spot in a reentry program. So it's amazing where he came from, and then the fact that he had to go to prison to meet Francis and to really work on changing who he is.
Yeah, and while we like tell this powerful story of Chief's journey, we're also looking at thematically like the importance of power of community and culture and these sort of things, and really looking at a critique of the prison industrial complex and what that looks like in our community.
Yeah, I was just as you were saying this, I was curious. His experience, is it unique, or are there programs like this in other prisons? I mean, have you seen? Are other prisons, I guess, letting people explore their culture like this?
It's starting to happen more and more in the state of Washington. Chief has been involved with many of the programs. He was in Walla Walla. He's been at Monroe, Airway Heights. He's traveled around the prisons for various reasons, and every time he lands, he starts another program if there isn't one started already. I have heard that it's in other states. I've heard some Pacific Islanders. I know there's some documentaries floating out and around there about that in prison. I think that it's really becoming a thing because spiritual guidance and having, spiritual rights as a Native American in prison has become, a big issue. And there are advocates like Gabe Galanda from Seattle, from Galanda Broadman. He's a activist attorney who is the go-to person for the rights of prisoners to practice their culture in prison in the state of Washington.
Okay, well, that's good to know. At least it's spreading. That's good. And is this? Are we talking federal prisons or state prisons?
Well, I don't know exactly. I know state prisons for sure, and I think it's kind of state by state. I'm not 100% sure in other places besides Washington State. We've really focused on Washington State because of the fact that Native Americans are the most incarcerated race in the state of Washington now, and seeing how important knowing your culture, learning your culture, and how that really takes hold of you and can change your life if you are open to it and if you're willing to put in the work and understand how having the culture in your life, it means family, it means focusing on something other than yourself and trying to do things for others, and that has made such a huge difference. So I'm hoping that it continues to spread to other places now that more people are finding out that it's a possibility.
I know several friends that same thing. They rediscover their culture. They dig deeper in to overcome addictions or other issues. And I think it is important. And as you do, learn more about your culture, it can help you get out of these things. So how do you use this project and this film and this story to help people not get to this point?
Do you want to take that, Blake?
Yeah, sure. I mean, for us, it's like we look at the film as like an opportunity to also build community, right? So, like, in addition to showing in like public television, what we want to do is we want to take this around. We want to go to schools where we can start to look at the root cause of this, right? Because like you don't wake up one day and then you're in prison. There's like a number of things that lead to that point, and so we want to intervene as early as possible. My mom, she in my community, she used to teach this after school program that worked as like gang intervention. So what she would do is she would get in early, start teaching kids very young these habits and these things that can keep them out of what would lead them to the life that would lead them to prison. And so we can use the film in that same way. We can use it in an educational capacity to build that community and like show people that there is a different way. Because oftentimes, like, we look around. I know for myself specifically, looking around, like all I saw was people like in and out of prison. I actually, it's kind of silly, but like I did think that like part of becoming a man was going to prison. I thought that I had a plan. I was going to graduate high school. I'd do a year in prison and then I would go to college after that. Because that's what happens. Like you go to prison.
Wow. So, I've talked about several times here at PowWows.com is over the last couple of years, there really has been a renaissance of stories being told, whether it's in TV or film, and really shining the spotlight on Native culture. And it's been humorous, it's been serious, but it hasn't been. We haven't seen too much of this side of it. So, how do you think this kind of falls in that dynamic of shining spotlights on the culture? Does this help, hurt, or what are you hoping like people outside of the culture will take from this?
Well, I mean, we definitely intend for them to take a like a positive look at like how important culture is and
Right.
why it is powerful in a person's life. So we're hoping like people look at that and from whatever community they're in, they reconnect with that, which I think would be a beautiful outcome of this.
And to have youth see, I really want kids to see this so that they could understand, like what Blake said, you don't have to go to prison. It is not a rite of passage. You can go straight from high school to college and live a different life. And I really do believe having the culture in your life can help keep you from, straying outside that path, staying connected to your elders and being part of ceremonies. There's just something about it that I really think is like food for your soul. There's one person that we were going to kind of follow, who happens to be Francis Kaluuya's daughter, Tani Kaluuya, and she is in her 30s and she's raising 8 children because her sister died in a car accident, and she took all those children in, and she's continuing to keep them in the culture and going to powwows, and they all dance, and she's making sure they stay on a good path. And that has been, so important to her, and watching her do that and succeed in it, that just gives me hope that, other people can do this on the reservations, and that if they keep the culture in their life and they keep a family, I guess, centric way of looking at things and putting that importance on family, I really do think that we can make a difference by sharing the story and showing that, that's where you want to keep your focus when you're not being selfish and, doing crazy things that are going to land you in prison, and putting the importance more on, your kids or your grandkids or your parents or your grandparents. I think that is a huge thing in the Native culture, and really really important.
You may have said this, but is he life without parole, or is some of this helping his sentence at all?
Well, there is a twist.
Okay.
He did get life without parole, but in the state of Washington recently, the Miller decision came down, and it made it cruel and unusual to incarcerate minors without the possibility of parole. So he did get the opportunity to be resentenced, and that's definitely going to be in our film. And we are looking at a release date of early 2028. He will have been in for over 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot to take 40 years. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where can people see the film? How do we get this?
Well, it's we're connected with Vision Makers Media,
Mhm.
who has been supporting the film, and so we are part of the PBS network. We will be seen somewhere in that realm. We don't know where yet. We hope to, really get out and share this at festivals, try to get the word out as much as possible. And, down the line, we don't know like where it's going to end up, but I hope maybe one day, streaming as well. But PBS, is amazing for documentaries. And I think that this will definitely be educational and interesting and heartfelt. So I don't know, Blake, do you have any other thoughts?
No, I mean that's exactly it. Like we will once the film's made, we go through that process with Vision Maker Media to identify where we distribute, and as soon as we know, like we will let you know.
For sure.
Cool. And I do want to ask you, both of you being in filmmaking, if there's always want to tell, I'm trying to highlight for youth always that there are paths, right? There are
Yes.
different paths, there are different careers paths. So can you talk a little bit about, I guess, your path to getting into filmmaking, and what would you say to people that are maybe even considering this same path?
That's all you, Blake.
Okay, I'm happy to take that. Yeah. I mean, look, I grew up in a house where we were plugging holes in the wall with stuffed animals in the winter. So like art, filmmaking, none of that was like a real path for me. That's a pipe dream. I was on the track to be a plastic surgeon. That's what I was going to do. I was going to, because like in order to get out of that sort of situation and that extreme poverty, there are certain paths, like, right, you become a doctor, you become an attorney, you become, you get an MBA, you do those things because that guarantees a certain income and you get out of that. So that was my path. I always was in art in some way, whether that was performing, whether that was writing, whether that was any number of things. I was doing music, all these sort of things, all as a like side hustle to like because that's not real. I can't actually do that. That is not something that will like get me out of a situation. But I came to it in that you that was like the money of it all, like that was never going to make me happy. What was going to make me happy was like being a filmmaker, being an artist, doing these things, like empowering other people, telling stories that I think like have a pro-social bend to them that can actually change things. I think like film is like one of the best ways to change the hearts and minds of people. So that's where my heart was, and I went to school for it. I took on a lot of debt, which is not something that anybody in my family has done in that way. But that was what I had to do to get to this place. And then from there, it was taking all the things that I learned growing up in the hood of hustling and just applying that to filmmaking. So that was like going to every single networking event I could, emailing people cold, doing everything that I possibly could to make sure that this was like something that was attainable for me. And then honestly, just focusing on the craft, doing it over and over again. I made like, at the University of Oklahoma, I probably made like 40 shorts that no one will ever see because they're so bad. But I was given that opportunity to fail over and over and over again without consequence other than getting better. And then like it honestly was like school was a big part of that. Going from OU to USC, like those gave me like USC and student debt gave me a way to actually live in Los Angeles for 2 years while being able to focus on like honing the craft and building relationships. But it was just like determination and grit and believing in myself and doing the work over and over and over again.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to hopefully see the story and follow along as this progresses as a film. So thanks for coming on. Anything else before we go?
I don't know. We're featured on the International Documentary website as the film of the or documentary of the month. So yeah, we're really excited about that, and we do have a I guess crowdsourcing GoFundMe type of link on our website. We are trying to raise funds for the finishing of the film. We're actually traveling to Washington State next week. We will be filming at the prison in Monroe and seeing Chief in person and interviewing him for the documentary. So we're excited about that. But if anybody, loves what we're doing, loves the story, and wants to help support us, please, we would love the help 100%. And I think you'd be helping with something that is going to be extremely educational.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for the time. I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out.
Hey, thank you. It was a pleasure being here with you.
I really appreciate them spending some time with us and talking about their film. Remember to follow along. We have an article over on PowWows.com with links to learn more about the film. Thank you for watching today. And as promised, here is a bonus code for our Explore Native Challenge. Remember to enter to win daily for your chance to win one of those 8th generation blankets, the earrings, and so many other prizes, and to learn a little bit more about Native culture. I'm going to challenge you, no matter who you are and how much you think you know, I'm going to challenge you to dig a little deeper and learn more during Native American Heritage Month and this fall season. So your bonus code for today is 5795862. Take that over to PowWows.com/win, enter it into the bonus code section, and you'll get extra entries. That's 5795862. Good luck. I hope it's you that wins one of those blankets, and I'll see you next time. Hope you get to spend some time with your family this weekend and enjoy being together. I'll see you back next week. Thanks.